So, what's up YouTube? It's been a long time since I made a video. So, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to make an electric vehicle today. I've had about 12 years of experience and worked on many electric vehicles. Been working on a really awesome prototype that hopefully I'll be bringing to market pretty soon. But today, we're going to be talking about how you can make your own electric vehicle right in your own garage. So at the beginning of this video, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the basics of electric vehicles and e-bikes and all that stuff. And then in the middle of the video, I jump right into programming a better electronic speed controller. So that's for more of you advanced viewers. But then I'm going to go back at the end, closer to the end of the video. I'll go ahead and start talking about buying e-bike kits, which will be for beginners. So if the middle of this video is a little too much for you to process, just go ahead and skip to the farther end of this video. So this is the official kickoff of my YouTube channel. I'll be posting a fair number of videos in the future from now on. So this is a pretty mild video, but it's going to get pretty spicy. We'll be talking about all sorts of stuff, you know, pretty much anything that I know. I want to share my knowledge with you guys. So some very intense stuff and some not so intense stuff. And I'm going to try and make it a fair balance of both of those. So there are three important components that you need. One is the electric motor. So if you're going with an electric bicycle, I would recommend a hub motor because they are just so easy to use. And I'll go ahead and post some good hub motors in the description for you guys so you can pick out whichever one you want. Now the second component you're going to need is the motor controller. And I highly recommend the VESC electronic speed controller. It goes by VESC, and if you buy the version 4, that will give you great value because it's open source and there's a lot of people that make them. So you can probably spend about 80 bucks on one, and they give you incredible efficiency and tons of features. And the great thing about brushless motors is they're incredibly simple. So there's no brushes that ever need to be replaced, and they will last a very long time if you don't abuse them. Now the final component you're going to need is your battery pack. And I would highly recommend you just buy a battery pack because it's just so much easier, and there's never been a better time to get one. Back 12 years ago when I made the fastest e-bike video, I was using lead acid batteries because lithium was just completely cost prohibitive. But nowadays, it's dirt cheap to get lithium. So just go ahead and buy yourself a nice lithium pack, either in the 18650 format or LiPo cells. I would recommend 18650s because they are more durable, and that's pretty much the standard in the electric vehicle industry. That's what Tesla uses, so why not stick with what Tesla uses, right? So your battery pack is going to come with a battery management system, and that is a very important component for any beginner with electric vehicles. If you get more advanced, you can start managing your batteries by yourself, but if you just want something that's very hands-off, you want something with a battery management system. And the battery management system keeps your batteries in balance, which is very important. It also keeps them from being overly discharged below the low voltage cutoff, and it also keeps your batteries from being having too many amps drawn from the battery, and that's also very important. Those are all things that could permanently damage your battery pack, or even worse, it could start a fire in your house or your garage or wherever you're keeping your bike. I personally highly recommend a hub motor because all you gotta do is you buy it and you take off your old wheel and you put on your new one. And if you put a front hub motor on there, then you don't even have to worry about the sprockets lining up or anything like that. You just pop off the old wheel, put on the new one, run the wires, and put your battery pack on there somewhere, and put on your electronic speed controller as well, motor controller, and you're done. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how incredibly easy it is to wire up your hub motor to your electronic speed controller and hook up your batteries. So you have two options when you wire up your electronic speed controller to your motor. You could wire it up the very easy way, which is just to wire it up with the phase wires, or you can wire it up with the Hall sensor wires, which will give you better startup torque. Now, the easiest solution would be to get a hub motor with an electronic speed controller or a motor controller in the kit. But if you wanted to go with the higher efficiency, you definitely want a better electronic speed controller, because they are really awesome and they have higher efficiency due to field-oriented control, along with some extra features which most of you probably wouldn't use. They just recently came out with a very powerful better electronic speed controller. I don't know if it's officially available yet, but that thing is insane. It is so powerful. So if you really wanted to make a super high power e-bike, you want to get the most efficiency out of your controller, so I would highly recommend one of those, because they are just insanely quick. Now just take a minute to appreciate the Benjamin Vetter electronic speed controller. This is his latest revision, and it is capable of over 10 kilowatts, 75 volts, 300 amps continuous. So if you want a very high power e-bike with field-oriented control, this is what you need. So now he's demonstrating a piece of cable that is the equivalent resistance and inductance value of the electric motor that he's using in this video. And you can see it's a very short piece of wire, and it's pretty high gauge too, so it's very impressive. Here he's demonstrating the motor at 300 amps. I dialed the sound way back because it's absolutely deafening. So I was curious as to how many amps this thing could pull. So I went ahead to check out the website, and I found it's capable of doing 16 series, as stated right there. So 16 series pack, let's do some math. 16 times 4.2. That's 67.2 volts fully charged battery pack. Now let's multiply it by 300. That's the continuous amperage. 20,000. 20 kilowatts. That's just nuts. So now I'm going to show you guys how to set up your VESC if that's what you chose to buy. So first thing you're going to do is click connect. And you can see down there at the bottom, it says connected. So you click motor setup wizard, and you see here, I don't want to load the default, but you will want to load the default because this is the first time you set up your thing. And field oriented control, that's what FOC stands for. That's what you want. So now you're setting your battery and motor current limits, and those should both be available in your spec sheet. The current limit for your battery is very important. You do not want to overdraw from your battery, otherwise the battery management system will kick in and cut off your power. Then you'll be stranded. And now we're setting the low voltage cutoff limit. And you can see here, you do want to hit yes when this dialog pops up. So this is the settings for mine. Mine is a 10 series battery pack, and you will find that out whatever battery pack. You cannot go above 12 series with the VESC 6, and I would not recommend going above 10 series with the VESC 4. And we are using Hall sensors, so I selected Hall sensors. And the next step is to measure resistance and inductance. You're going to hear weird noises from your motor. So you can see all those green parameters. It was a successful test. And now I'm going to be running the next dialog here, which is the flux motor linkage. And you can hear my motor making some weird noises. It's supposed to be spinning it up right now, so we're going to have to tweak some settings. Yep, there's the error. Couldn't measure flux linkage properly. So I'm just going to go ahead and up the amperage to 10 amps, doubling that value. Not 105. 10 amps. There we go. And measure again. There we go. That sounds much better. And if you look at your vehicle, you can see it spinning up the motor. And make sure to click apply and next. And now we're going to detect the Hall sensor table. This is really cool. You can just hook up your Hall sensors however the hell you want. As long as the 5 volt is hooked up properly and the ground is hooked up properly, then you can hook up the Hall sensors however. And it's now spinning my motors very slowly in each direction to build up the Hall sensor table. And make sure to click apply. And it's applied. And next. And you're done. So now what we can do is we can click this little arrow key button here. And this enables the arrow keys on your keyboard to control your motor, as you can hear. And we hit the real-time data button right there, right below the arrow keys, and you can see the data. That's your duty cycle and your amps. Pressing the right key spins up your motor to 18% duty cycle, and then holding down the other arrow key, the opposite direction, will spin it up to full speed. And if your motor is spinning in the opposite direction, you select invert motor direction. Really simple. So the very final step is to go ahead and click on ADC to set up your throttle. And for mine, it does not have a throttle hooked up. But what you'll do is you have to turn on RT app and select current here, and you fiddle with the throttle. So if you have a throttle that has regenerative braking, then you'll have to hit the throttle in each direction. But if you have a throttle that has 2 channels, as you can see here, you need to hook up both of those channels and fiddle with both throttles. And if you have the 2-channel one, then you would do current, no reverse, brake, ADC2. And that would allow your second throttle input to control the braking current. But if you have one that auto centers and it goes forward, or you pull the throttle back and for acceleration, and then you push it forward to brake, then that kind of throttle you would use this mode. And then it would normally give you minimums and maximums and the center value. And then you click apply. It's not going to work for me because I don't have it measured because there's nothing hooked up. And then after you do that, you go to general and you choose ADC right here. But I'm going to leave it on UART because my personal transporter communicates to the VESCs through UART. Apologies for the quality of that last clip. That was through the screen capture program, and they decided to compress the audio to hell, so I won't be using that anymore. So this is the second half of the video where I show you the much easier way to make an e-bike, which is through a kit you can buy off Amazon and a battery pack. I'm sure there's plenty of tutorials on how to install each one of these kits, especially these ones with like plenty of Amazon reviews, like 4.5 stars, 4 stars on Amazon. That's pretty good. So if you go ahead and get this kit, then that's going to be a hell of a lot easier than doing all that other stuff that I showed you. There you can see they're recommending some lead acid batteries, which I cannot recommend. Due to something called Puchart's law, lead acid batteries are junk. You do not want them. We live in an age of lithium batteries. I'll show you guys the best places to buy lithium batteries closer to the end of this video. And you can just browse Amazon around, you know. There's a bunch of kits here. Find something you want. I'd personally recommend a high wattage kit because if you're going to make a conversion, you might as well make it worth it with high wattage. I'm just showing you here. There's a 750 watt kit, and they all come with those little battery pouches so you can put your battery in there. And then of course they're recommending more lead acid batteries. Don't do that. So now that we found our motor kit, let's go ahead and find some batteries. Gonna need some batteries. And here's a lithium battery. This is something that you would definitely want. You can see here. Let me just readjust it a little bit. You can see there that this attaches to where your water bottle would normally be. So that's a real nice convenient spot. Low center of gravity for a battery pack. But then again, you can't have the water bottle if you do that, so maybe you'd be more interested in one of these battery racks. And it looks like they even offer assembly. I don't know why you'd want that for a silly little battery like this. And I doubt they hook them up to the motor controllers and stuff like that. So I wouldn't really recommend that. Let's see what else I got. Yep, back to this kit. I think this is probably your guys' best bet. It's got a really good review on Amazon. And it's 1,000 watts, 48 volts. Those are good numbers for a beginner at least. You'll be very happy with the power for a beginner e-bike. So let's go ahead and move on to getting battery packs. You can see here that's a 24 volt battery pack. So let's type in 48 volt battery pack. There we go. That's a little better. So yeah, if you need to match, of course, your kit to a proper battery pack. But this is going to give you a lot more options than Amazon is going to. I'm not exactly sure why Amazon doesn't have a lot of options. One thing you got to keep in mind though is shipping is free in a lot of cases, but it's going to take a long time because it's coming straight from China. But you might as well avoid the middleman, right? So just curious what kind of e-bike kits they have. And surprisingly, I probably didn't type in the proper keywords to find any kits because only 2 popped up. That's a pretty decent kit, but you can see it's pretty expensive. And it's a mid-drive kit. Those I would not recommend for beginners because they are a lot more difficult to install. You really have to tear the bike apart in order to install them. But we're just going to look through it anyways. Yeah, these are pretty solid kits, I gotta say. People on Endless Sphere seem to like them a lot. This website I'm exploring, by the way, is aliexpress.com. So now let's just go back to Hub Motor Kits, see what they got here. and not a whole lot of options, and there are not a lot of reviews on most of those kits. So I would probably just get one on Amazon. It's probably going to be way easier for you. So yeah, let's just go back to batteries. Plenty of battery options here for you. And something you want to keep in mind is that you do not want Chinese batteries. You want to make sure that any of the packs you're buying are made with reputable cells. So let's just go ahead and add to our search term LG. That's a good brand. So you got to make sure that the battery is going to be actually supplying those cells for you. So it says we use original LG cell for battery. So that's good. Risk Light. Funky brand name. Chinese are not the greatest at naming stuff. And whatever battery pack you buy, make sure it comes with a charger, because that's just extra hassle for you beginners. You don't need to deal with that. So now let's see how Samsung cells show up, because that's another good reputable brand of batteries. So we're not going to assume anything here. So once we find a battery pack that you want, I highly recommend you search the page for that specific brand that you initially searched for. Risk Cell or Risk Light? I guess I'll take the light risk. Not seeing the name brand here anywhere. Oh, well, at least there's no furs in there. These sites are hilarious if you love bad English. Okay, so I'm just going ahead and doing a Control F to find. Well, I found one in the related things, so let's see what they have to say. Sorry guys, you didn't list Samsung anywhere in your product description. Okay, here we go. This is looking better. So we can see here, with Samsung cell. That's good. That's what we want. And if you want the battery rack too, they have that included in the price for more money. So I hope that gets you guys started on making your own e-bike. And if you guys have any questions or comments and all that stuff, leave them in the comment box below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. You don't want to miss the project I've been working 8 years on. That's going to be really cool. So, see you guys soon.